I actually wanted to do a video way earlier, but with the workload I currently have from university, and me simply being wary in spirit, I didn't. But the thought has been floating around my mind, and I couldn't finish reading Persuasion by Jane Austen if I didn't get it out of my head, and none of my friends are answering their text messages about this show, so goddamn it, might as well make a video on it. I was initially going to record my reaction. I actually did it for the last episode, but the problem was that when I'm watching it alone, all of my thoughts are in my head, and it feels way too forced for me to say something for the sake of reaction. So maybe next time I'll do a mix of the two, that I'll talk about my thoughts and add some random reaction bits. But for today, we'll just do this. But I would love to add that I love Sam and Bucky's dynamic and Sharon Carter's arrival in the show, and a lot of other things that will probably be touched upon at one point or another. Before we begin, that car scene in episode 2 is against German traffic regulations. Also, altogether, it is wonderful to watch the show as somebody who speaks German. And do you guys know that thing where when you speak a language and it shows up in a TV show or movie, and then you see how good that language is being spoken, or if it's Google Translator? That's me during Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I'd also like to add that Taurus sounds extremely adorable when he speaks German. Now, episode 3 brings in one of my favorite villains in the MCU, and once more he ends up spitting facts. Zemo has been my favorite villain since Civil War because, to put it simply, he reaches his goal. There are other villains in the universe that do the same, but Zemo does not have any powers. His actions have a long-term effect in the sense that the Avengers are broken up after Civil War, which is one of the things he wanted to happen. Now, one of the messages of the show is Bucky moving forward from being the Winter Soldier and getting his life back. He already has his mind, but he needs to have a purpose. And in this episode, we can see how easy it is for him to slip back into it. And I'm not only talking about the Madripoor scene, although that was my favorite sequence in the shows so far. As Zemo puts it quite nicely, there is still a part of the Winter Soldier in him. And while he won't turn into a murderous grumpy cat, obviously, but you can see in the way he broke Zemo out of prison, or how he's secretly playing and might turn Zemo over to Wakanda. While Bucky's no longer the Winter Soldier, he's very much still a soldier looking for his purpose. He can't go back to being James Buchanan Barnes and ignore the last 8-ish years, which is probably why he holds onto that shield, because it's also a remnant of his life before the Winter Soldier. And obviously it belongs to his best friend, come on. So Bucky's goal really is to figure out how to live as James Buchanan Barnes, but also with the weight of what is left of the Winter Soldier in him, because it's something that happened. He cannot 100% ignore it, and that is made very clear in the show. Bucky was happy in Wakanda, and he got exactly what he wanted there. Peace. So I wouldn't be surprised if he did become White Wolf again, because that was the place where he wasn't a soldier, but Bucky Barnes. But it also meant he couldn't face the problems that he's having now, which is being handed to him on a silver platter by Baron Zemo, the exact same way Agnes did to Wanda in the one episode of WandaVision. Now, I had a hard time formulating this part, and since it's not my place to talk about it when there are others who are way more equipped to do so, I looked to the man Anthony Mackie himself, and I'm glad he actually put it into words.
More so about their admiration and appreciation and respect for their friend, as opposed to them waiting in the wings.
So we have that aspect, and we have the shield.
For Sam, he is a black man, and he is not just a black man, he's a black man from the South. And he does not believe it is appropriate to take on this symbol because it means something very different in his hands than it does Steve.
Think about it this way. It's like if you see Winnie the Pooh in figure skating, and that person holding the Winnie the Pooh is not Yuzuru Hanyu. The shield is a symbol, right? And in the comics, it gets passed down with a title because comics, they go on for years, and it's normal for storylines to be rebooted or characters to get new identities. Now let's think of this in the context of the MCU. Symbols have history, and the shield was picked by Steve. It has the red, blue, and, silver stripes and stars, a nod to the beginnings of Captain America, but the shield, that's Steve. That's his character, his flaws, and the kid who couldn't run away from a fight. But it also stands for the Super Soldier Program, the grief it has caused and is causing. That's something that's hard to separate, and Steve's legacy, while great and patriotic, is also painful. Even when it was taken from Steve, and he was stripped of his title of Captain America, that shield was still Steve. And Sam knows this, so much that he can't hold it and would rather have it destroyed or kept in a museum.
That belongs in a museum!
Sam can be Captain America, but the shield is forever Steve's. It's hard to live up to what he's left behind, which is something that John Walker is trying to do and is failing terribly at it. And this move itself, knowing that it's not his place to carry it, is what makes Sam a great Captain America. So Steve wasn't wrong to pick Sam. Because just like Steve, Sam knows when something has to end. Steve took down S.H.I.E.L.D. because of Hydra, even though Howard Stark and Peggy Carter were the ones who built it up. And it is exactly this. This is what makes Sam a great Captain America. The world may need a new Cap, but they don't need a Captain America in the way it existed before. I'm not sure if this makes sense, and that could be something that could be talked about in the comments. I know I skimmed over a lot of things, but hopefully it will be brought up in the next couple of weeks. So until then, I recommend you all watch Yuzuru Hanyo's Hanawazaku's Gala Skate from the World Championships. Have a wonderful Easter weekend, unless your name is Wheezy, aka me, and have to finish a bunch of presentations and essays. Also, that dude in Madripoor caught Bucky on 4K fighting people, so this is not gonna go well for him. This thing is called Zemo Spits Facts, mostly because a lot of these ideas came after Zemo said something. So, in a weird way, the asshole's right.